Hello everyone, it's Nigel here from Nigel's Modelling Bench, and I've got yet another review for you. I had a package turn up yesterday from Ed at Premium Hobbies, and wasn't expecting this at all, didn't even know he'd sent it. So here we go. He's obviously started purchasing items from Japan for his online shop. So these can be found on his online shop, and all of these items here are actually currently marked with a sale price. So basically what we've got here are some of the Scribers from Alec. Now if you're into your modelling, you've probably heard of Alec scrapers before. These are the scrapers, these are the Scribers. They are 100% the Rolls-Royce products out there. They are absolutely brilliant from what I've heard. I've never even held one in my hand. I've never seen them being used in live. I've seen them on videos and stuff. So yeah, I'm really grateful to Ed for sending me these, because it gives me a chance to try them. Then we got the Scrapers here, which I've also always looked at, but every time I went to buy them, I can't remember now who used to sell them. There was only the one supplier in the country, and they were always out of stock. So we've got the Scrapers there. Here we've got the high-Q parts. These are called sanding chips. I'll tell you more about those in a minute. And then here we've got the Micron masking tapes from Azu. Now I've heard again that these are like the Rolls-Royce of masking tapes. Again, I'm not going to get these out and use them right now, because you can't kind of demonstrate how good a product is or how bad a product is without using it. So the best thing I can do is use these products in builds and let you see them there. And I know that most of you watch most of my builds, so I'm sure you'll see them being used. And again, it's the same with all of this. It's pointless me just getting these out of the packets and seeing what they're like. Maybe the Scriber, I don't know. So let me get this cleared away, and then we'll look at the parts of the products individually. We'll discuss prices and discounts and stuff and go from there. Right, so let's start off with the Scrapers. And what we've got here, there are 3 in the range. I think there are more in the range, but Ed is stocking these 3 at the moment. And obviously you can see there are 0.1 wide, 0.15 wide and 0.2 wide, which are extremely fine. One of the biggest problems with scribing panel lines and scribing in general, and even moulded panel lines, is with them being over scale. As we all know, you look at an aircraft in real life, you look at a wing, you can't see the panel lines generally. The only thing that shows them is dirt and grime. Some kits, as we know, like the old Matchbox, they had scale panel lines which were about 2 foot wide. So if we look at this one, if we're going to scribe a line which is 0.1 wide on a 32nd scale model, that's going to give you a scale 3.2 millimeters, which isn't a million miles away for access panels and stuff. So, you know, it's nice to know that there's people out there making this sort of stuff that you can use for a proper sort of scale effect. Now, I'm not going to use the 0.2 or the 1.5. What I'm going to do is use the 0.1, and I've done a little bit of clever unpackaging here, so you think it's all still packed up, but it's not. There you go. So we'll get these out of the way. Now, obviously the packets are covered in Japanese writing. You could use your iPhone or whatever, or your phone to do a translation if you want to know what it all says. But they do give very detailed descriptions of what they actually are. You can see across here, it's telling you it's 0.1 wide. It's going to be 45 millimeters long. You know, it's all sort of stuff that it's just the Japanese are so into precision. So let's get our scrap wing here, which is a Revell 1/32 scale Hanker 111. I've got a Scriber here. Little tip for you guys: I always put a piece of masking tape on the Scriber, and then when you put it down, you can lay it down straight like so, and then just give it a little press down, and it'll stay there. And also it helps it grip, especially if you're in a tricky area. So this is a sort of Edard type, PE type packet, and I should have done this before, shouldn't I? Because the packet is not playing ball, it doesn't want to open. It's got extremely strong glue on it. So we'll cut it open. We'll take out the Scriber like so. Now straight away the first thing I notice is how wow, this really does not want to come out. The first thing I notice is how thin it is. Obviously it's 0.1. I was expecting it to be thicker, but you can see it's almost like a piece of photo etch, so you have to treat this with a bit of care. But you've got this moulded on. I'll give you a close-up look at it. It's a beautifully engineered, beautifully etched item. It's got this moulded on lump here. Excuse my fingers, guys, I'm working on the Land Rover. You've got this moulded on lump to hold, which is really, really cool. So you just slip it out your hand. So what I'm going to do, I've got this, I've lined it up with this panel line here. So what I'm going to do is just go between these two panel lines and see how we get on. I'm just going to dig it into that panel line and drag, like so. I'm just doing one pass. There we go, we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, that is really, really nice. Let's get that close up for you. Where are we? Here we are. Now you can see here, where are we? Here, we've got the Revell panel line, and then next to it, I've got the panel line I've described. And you can see how fine that is. And it's also quite, you can hear what little nails I've got. If I get a blade, you can see that the blade is actually stepping into it. So even just that one gentle pass, it's a lovely sharp line. And this also shows you, if you're really careful, you can use this after the paint, which if you're really brave, some very professional modelers do their scribing after the paint, and it looks incredible. So let's just do another line next to it. There we go. So into that line there, and then just pull it back. I'm not pushing down at all, I'm just literally pulling it back. And I must be honest, that is amazing. And I also think, I mean, I'm not going to do it now, but you'll see it in a build, I think, for doing round curved surfaces, like round nose cones and stuff are always a problem. Because of the shape and the flexibility, I think it'll be absolutely amazing. Leading edges on wings, I've got a sand line there, so I'll just quickly sand that off with my Infini 800 sponge. Just quickly sand that away, and then I should be able to come along with this. And because it's just a flat, because the scriber is just a flat surface, I don't need to worry about having the scriber tight in. Let's pick up that line there. Now these panel lines on the kit don't line up, so I'm expecting a step, but yeah, you can see it's just because of its shape, it's so easy just to pull it around like so, rather than having a great cumbersome handle out here and trying to control it. And let's put a line in here. Because of its shape, it's really, really easy. And because of this, it's very difficult to describe, but basically while I'm scribing, I'm going to be careful because it's obviously very sharp. You can see that when you hold it, you can pull it back, and it will, because of the angle, the relation between the center of the ball and the point, when you pull it back, it actually pivots around. Watch, if I don't move, if I just keep my fingers on it and pull around, you can see it's turning. Yeah, try and show you that end on. And I'm going to do that. It's not going to be easy, is it? I'm going to ruin my scribing template, but try and show you this end on. If I pick up that line there, as I pull this back, coming around, you can see it's just pivoting around. How easy is that? What a lovely little tool. So anyway, onto the money. These little scribers, they're not the cheapest scriber on the planet, but they are pretty bloody awesome. As I've just shown you, these are $15.95 each at the moment. But don't forget, if you use your code NMB10, that's Nigel's Modelling Bench 10, you can get a 10% discount. So that's going to come out at like £1.60 off of that. So you're talking $14.35. So you know, it's not the end of the world. It's a fantastic little tool, and I'm going to really look after these and use them with great care. What I need to do is come up with some sort of storage device. In fact, Ed at Premium Hobbies, I'm going to email him now and say what he needs to do is come up with a store, because he makes all these different holders for all these different products. So you can imagine something like that you could store them in. Yeah, that wants to fall out because of the weight, but something you could store them and perhaps have them that way up. So you could store them. I'll speak to Ed about that. So there we go. So that's the Scribers. Let's have a look at the Scrapers. Right, so here we are. These are the Scrapers. These are the two that that Ed does. I'm sure he'll expand on the range, but you can also get them with the concave core, and they're really handy for scraping seam lines. Like for instance, on a wing here, if you come along with a knife and start scraping like this heavily, you end up with a flat. Whereas with the Alec Scrapers that are curved, you can scrape down and remove the seam without actually producing a flat. Very good for one thing. If you're building a 1/24 scale Typhoon, that thing is covered in seam lines all over the tubular cockpit construction, and those sort of things are really handy for that. So these are all tools that make life easier. You know, there may be people who want to comment, you know, you don't need that, why don't you just use a knife or whatever. That's fine, but there's tools that make life easier for people if they want to use them. So what we've got here are Radius version 6, I'm guessing that's version 6, and we've got the flat version 6. It's vertex of 6 pieces, so that's what the V means. It's a vertex of 6 pieces. So this is number 6. No, this is number 2. I'm guessing there's 2 of the flat type. I'm not sure on Alec products, but this is basically what Ed does. So straight away we can see the way these are used is for scraping. Much like I've just used the knife, you pull them sideways along things, and you can see on the back here the way they're using it. You can see there, like in a tank fender, if you've got some horrible ejector pin marks or whatever, you can get in there and sand that out or scrape it out with that radius end. You've either got the radius end there, 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 or there, whichever is most suitable. In fact, you've got a radius on the end of each one. And you can see here for figures, getting in with the radius. Square corner in here. We've got a square corner there, and we've got a square corner with a chamfer. So if you want to produce a nice even chamfer, if you can see that there, you can produce that just by scraping along. And then we've got this little dog leg here, which on here they're using to clean out someone's ear. So if you've got grubby ears, that's what you want to do it with. No, I'm joking. Don't try this at home, kids. So yeah, there we go. So that's that one, and then this one here is the straight one, and you've got some sort of straight parallel sided paddles there, and then we've got tapered parts here. And again, as I said, the Japanese has given us all the dimensions. You know, it's 15 millimeters here and it's 60 millimeters diameter. I don't really know why, because you can see it there. You know, there it is. But you can see here they're using the end to scrape out a tank mantlet. Using the corners here, we all know when we get like rough moulding in a recessed part like so, or you get a mould seam halfway around, these things are absolutely amazing for scraping out. Down in there, you can imagine ejector pins down inside a chassis rail. You can imagine getting in with this one and just going along, and they'll be gone. Just scrape them out. And here you can see they're scraping a chamfer. Well, they've actually got a tool for that here, for scraping a chamfer. So if you get them both, you don't need to do that. And then getting in here into a recessed part, probably again removing ejector pin marks. So they're really, really handy tools, and they're the sort of thing that, you know, although they show you, they give you suggestions on how it can be used, you will find a million different ways to use them. Now, I'm not going to do any demonstrations with these now. I've just looked around for a couple of kit parts that might have been suitable, but I can't find anything. But I do know, for example, in a, you know, when you get a mud guard or the front mud guard on a tank, like on a King Tiger or something, it's radius, it's sat there, there's going to be an ejector pin mark in the back of it, and these are going to be wonderful for scraping that out. And all sorts of things like that. So that's your Alec Scrapers. They currently run out at $17.95 and $19.95. This one is $19.95. This one is $17.95. Again, not the cheapest tool in the world, but it's something once you've got it, it's pretty much going to last you for life. Remember, it's Japanese, so it's going to be awesome quality, and it's probably, you know, like I say, it's probably going to last you for life. It's a tool you're never going to buy again, I wouldn't have thought, unless you destroy it. It's certainly, you know, we're not talking the trumpeter range of tools here. We're talking very, very high quality equipment. Next up are these. Now, I'd never even heard of these before Ed sent me them, and I've just had a quick look on the internet, and there's not that much information about them, but they're actually called sanding chips. Now, the ones I've got here are 1800, 600, 400 and 320. Now, it seems at the moment every man and his dog are making products for sanding, and everybody comes out with an idea and you think, God, that's good. This is excellent. What this basically is a piece of, in this case, a 320 grit abrasive bonded to a sheet of plastic. And what you can do with this is cut it out into any shape you want, so you can make your own size kind of rigid yet flexible sander. So it's going to kind of replace these. Now, people who watch my channel know I like to use these a lot. These are your nail sticks you get from your supermarket and stuff. Biggest downside to these is they're fairly fine and they wear out very fast. They're not the best quality in the world. The other problem with is one side is always convex and one side is always concave. They're always slightly curved. This is dead flat. So this is going to be a replacement for that. So now you're going to have your little Infini, what's that red tape doing on there? You'll have your little Infini photo etch sanders here with the glue-on abrasives there. But you'll also have this, which has got some flex in it. So you could basically cut the piece of this out to the shape you want and then use it as a little standalone sander. And as I say, again, I'm not going to demonstrate this now because demonstrating sanders is, it's not the most interesting subject in the world, let's say. It's also not the easiest subject in the world to demonstrate sanding when you're actually not trying to come up with a finished goal. Whereas, you know, if I was building a model here right now, say I had say I was building a truck kit and I wanted to sand around the windows, I could cut a piece of this out and make it sand around the windows. I could use one of my Alec scrapers to scrape the chassis. I could use the Scribers to show you, how to reintroduce or refine the panel lines on the doors or something. So that's those. So basically, as I say, they're a rigid sort of like this, very much like a piece of plastic card, like a piece of sort of 1mm plastic card, and with an abrasive on it. So we'll try these out, we'll see how they work, we'll try them wet and dry, and we'll see what they're like. Next up, masking tapes. Now again, I'm not going to be able to really demonstrate masking tapes because, oh sorry, I forgot to tell you, these things here, these are £3.50 each. Not the end of the world. Remember, you'll get your discount, so that'll come out at £3.15 each. So they're available right now from Premium Hobbies on his website. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So there we go. There's our range of Micron masking tapes. Now, I have seen these around before. Never bought them, never tried them. What I have got is these. These are the Jammy Dog tapes. And I can tell you now, that's an empty bag. Oh, that's for the Tamiya one. They call these micro masking tapes 2mm 0.5. And you can see, now these, they're all right, but they don't stick very well. They're not very flexible. And they don't have a really, really crisp, sharp edge. They're also quite thick. So I'm looking forward to trying these because, as you can see on this one here, this one's only 0.4 wide. But if I show you close up, you can see it's basically, it's kabuki tape. So it's going to be lovely. And I'm sure it's going to be flexible, so it'll be absolutely ideal for, doing what this Tamiya tape does, which is, because it's thicker, it's not, you can't get as tight, but I can imagine with this stuff you'll get some really tight shapes. For example, I can see this straight away. If you are building a World War tank, one of those French tanks that has that really interesting camouflage with the black line in between, paint your model black, mark out your camouflage with this, and then mask either side of it, paint your colours, pull this off, and you'll get your nice black lines. Now, if I'm talking rubbish, please let me know in the comments, because I've always wondered how they get that fantastic scheme. I've noticed Brett Green has just done a review of a kit. I think it's a Tamiya KV1, and he's currently building the Tamiya little Renault R35, and he shows it, and it's just the paint on it is beautiful, and I'm not quite sure how you achieve that, but anyway, I'm waffling. So we've got 0.4, 0.7, 1, 1.5, 2.5 and 2. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I thought I had those the wrong way round. I haven't. So it goes up in stages, and the 5 is thicker than the 6. So there you go. And as you can see, they've got some really, really nice holders. So what I'm going to try and do with these is make a slit in the side so I can pull the cardboard out and then I can put them away. Because one of the issues with these is going to be storage. If you put them down in your tray with your other tapes and stuff, they're going to pick up any dust on the edges and stuff, and it's going to ruin them. So storage is going to be a big consideration, so I'll have to think of something for that. So maybe Ed could make a 3D printed storage holder for these. That'd be pretty cool. So there we go. So keep an eye out for upcoming builds, and I will be using all of these products on them. They are certainly, the scrapers are something that I've been looking at for years. The Scriber, having just done that little trial, I am absolutely over the moon with it, and I'm going to use them now. Unless you, the only problem I can see is if you were trying to scribe, say you were trying to scribe here, down in between these blocks, I can imagine it would be quite awkward with those little Scribers, and you might want a bigger Scriber to get in there. But you know, for everything else, like doing wings and stuff like that, I can imagine they're going to be absolutely amazing. So anyway, there we go, guys. That's the review. Oh, sorry, the masking tapes are $2.95 each, which again isn't the end of the world. You've got 8 meters on these, and you've got 5 meters on these, so they're going to last you quite a while. You know, they're cheaper than your general sort of Tamiya tapes, I think. I think I think the 6mm is like £2.50 generally, isn't it, these days? But I think the bigger ones like these are getting quite expensive now. So there we go. In fact, they may even fit into a Tamiya dispenser. It looks like they will, actually. So if you've got old Tamiya dispensers lying around, don't throw them away. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all soon. And don't forget, if you're going to order any of this stuff, NMB10 is the code to get you 10% discount. And also with the Premium Designs products, so that's none of the sanders, none of the masking tapes, just the Premium Designs products, the 3D printed items. If you're in America and you want those items, drop me a line via email, and I will buy them for you. And then I won't buy them for you like as a gift. You will pay me, and then I will buy them from Ed on your behalf and ship them to you. Ed is no longer able to ship to the USA, so if you're, I think it's USA and Canada. So if you're USA, don't quote me on it yet, but if you're USA and I think Canada, then drop me a line if you want them. Obviously, once all this stuff that's going on at the moment is out of the way, then I can send them over to you. But at the moment, I'm not going to be queuing in post offices to send parcels abroad. I can assure you of that. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon with a build video, I hope. Bye for now.